This is Review Your Gear Radio with your hosts Chris Husted and Jason Renner. Coming to you with the latest topics, reviews, and techniques for hunting and fishing in the Midwest. And here they are, Chris and Jason. Take it away, boys.
Hello, Review Your Gear Radio. I'm Chris Husted.
Jason Renner.
It is Season 4, Episode 11. It's almost vacation, aka pre-fishing time.
So I think this is the first time that both of us are pre-fishing for the same at a different tournament at the same time.
That's awesome. Usually it's the same tournament, you know.
But I mean, it's two different, you know. So I'm sure might bounce some ideas off each other.
Complete opposite ends of the lake too.
Oh, I mean, I think the stratification of the thermocline is happening on the east end.
Okay.
Which means there is a thermocline in place. So a lot of, east end fish, the walleyes are they're heading deep. I've heard reports of 30 to 50 on the east end.
Nice.
And I just don't think it's that deep out in the western part.
It isn't.
Yeah.
Well, especially in the north.
Yeah.
Not that deep.
No.
I mean, it depends what you're looking for, too, in terms of you're looking for eaters, you in search of it. But, of course, anything you catch 30 to 50, she did.
Yeah. So, do us a favor. You catch fish that deep.
Just keep them.
Just keep it.
So, we had technical difficulty. We had Logan talking about the Women on the Water fishing tournament. So, please check them out at the Freedom Outdoors on Facebook. 104 teams this year. Tournaments this Saturday.
Yep, and it's from just about, Four Bears Bridge?
Four Bears Bridge all the way west of White Earth, almost, I can't remember, by the camp.
There's a camp over there that's just past Lewis and Clark. But the cool thing about it is the women in the boat have to reel a fish in, but there can be a guy kind of guiding. Basically, right. You're guiding them for the day, which...
you just can't touch a rod.
Hey, that's... I don't know. That's a good thing.
Getting women on the water, getting them involved in the outdoors is always a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a tournament I think I could actually get my wife to do if she doesn't have to, but maybe not.
Yeah, I was going to say about the same luck of getting mine. So, I'm leaving in just days for 10 days of fishing. 10 days.
10 days.
10 days.
So you got your meals figured out.
We have our meal planned on a spreadsheet.
Okay. You got the new Lifetime cooler.
Got the new Lifetime cooler currently housing bait at the moment. I got a flat of crawlers in there.
So are you going to do a comparison between the Yeti? Just kind of review your gear?
I'll be honest. With everything I got going on, it's going to be hard to really monitor ice.
Gotcha.
And to be fair, the Yeti will be open a couple times a day for food.
Yeah.
The Lifetime will be open just once to grab crawlers and maybe once to put them away.
Gotcha.
I'll keep them both in the camper, so it won't be, You
won't have the sun factor.
Right. So, but no.
How many pairs of sunglasses are you going to have in your truck?
Just one.
Just one?
Why are you joking at that?
I don't know, because it seems like you always lose one on these big fishing trips.
No, I'm actually pretty good. And I did find my last pair. I set it down on the counter at Dakota Waters on an evening. Found it the next morning.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
It was all good. So the question kind of is, how do you fish that long without getting burnt out? I think the key really is to fish tournament hours for one. Fish about an 8-9 hour day, that's plenty.
2, I don't think you burn yourself out on one type of fishing.
Right.
Change it up.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple things. Let's be honest. Now, you got 10 days in, you can try some crazy stuff.
Oh, we got some crazy stuff in mind. That doesn't mean it's going to work. It's weird because I have a buddy coming out from the Twin Cities to fun fish with us for the first half. Now, the first half of the trip isn't really serious yet. I'm just scouting and we're fishing. I want to send him home with some fish. So we want to catch some fish. The second half is when Scott comes out, and then it's just the tournament guys for the last 3 days pre-fishing, and we'll probably fish more serious those days.
Correct. Okay.
But getting creative, you're right. I'm not going to tote around 25 rods each day to try to fish 4 or 5 different tactics. I'm going to probably pick a tactic or two, and that's all I'm going to do that day.
Gotcha.
So, like, one day I'm going to pull plugs. One day I'm going to bait and maybe jig wrap or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, with the match on the hatch, if the smaller jig wraps will be good again?
Well, it depends because on the north end of the lake, there seems to be a decent amount of good-sized smelt, too.
And a lot of white bass, I'm seeing.
So, I've seen some people claim to be using longer white cranks with effectiveness like smelt. I don't know. Just hasn't been my bread and butter this year, and usually it tends to be.
Yeah. So, you guys are basing out Partial.
Yep. Camping up at Partial.
Okay. Going to any big plans for like long runs, or are you gonna stay kind of in that area?
No, I'm gonna probably dock relatively close to where I'm gonna fish that day, depending on the wind too. If it's calm, we'll run around. We will spend a day, maybe 2, in the river. Probably just 1. I know that's
a spot in case you need to run.
Well, we do have a few areas we want to check, and I'm really dying to know what I'm gonna run for fuel down and back. I may do that because we have to go there anyways for the rules meeting on Friday.
Yeah.
So I may do that and put in at the casino on Friday and
just see what you do.
Yeah.
Dress rehearsal.
Yeah, kind of. I think by that, if I'm not ready by Friday, well, I'm not gonna be.
Put the tux on, put the bow tie on, dress rehearsal.
Yeah. But no, we're gonna have fun this tournament. The amount of fish, like we've said in previous podcasts, up in the north end of the lake is incredible.
I'm okay. A little bit off topic, but I'm gonna throw something controversial out there.
Oh,
something controversial. And I'm gonna get probably cooked for saying this.
Bring it.
Do you think the walleye population in the lake right now is actually too high?
No.
Okay. Because of all those 18 to 20 inch fish that we're all catching all over the lake.
Yeah, there's definitely an abundance of those. Okay. But those are great breeders. That's a great breeding size.
Correct. But here's my question to this. Are some of these stunted fish because of the lack of smelt size, because it seems like there's some stunted smelt there, and are these older fish that just never got the growth rates because there's too much biomass in the system?
I don't know. Boy, there's a lot of fish that gets taken out of the lake, too.
Oh, correct. But I'm just saying, like, the growth rates in salmon in that lake are not what they used to be. Not even close. And there's a decent amount of ciscos in the lake, and there's a decent amount of herring, but there's still overabundance of smelt in the lake. So why is the growth rates in the salmon only 3 to 5 pounds a year? That's it puzzles me. And the game and fish always throw us at, it's because there's too many salmon and they don't have enough to feed on. But if there's so much food for the walleyes and stuff like this, why is their growth rate so low? So again, that's why I went controversial.
Don't know what to tell you. I'm an armchair biologist, so does it really matter what I think on that topic?
Well, like I said, I just want to something for people to think about. I mean, what are the true growth rates? I'm curious to know what the growth rates are of walleyes in that lake right now. Because Oahe has a way worse forage situation, especially on the north end, than Skakawea does. Mm-hmm. But yet, where's the biggest fish in the state being caught?
Yeah, but they're feeding on a lake herring, but that bait's too big for small walleyes.
Correct. And they're going to have issues with growth rates down there. You're going to have some that grow big, but also some of those smaller walleyes, will they have enough food?
Okay.
I went controversial.
I just paused. I know that makes for fantastic radio to have a pause, but anyways, let's have Tales from the Chub Tank.
Tales from the Chub Tank.
Would you know it? Of all the things we talk about here on Review Your Gear Radio, the most heat or controversy or jabs I get from people has to do with Tales from the Chub Tank more than any other segment of all the things we talk about. People get touchy about their chubs.
It's kind of funny.
Now, guys, and for good reason, okay? Guys are protective of their grounds.
Correct.
If you got a spot where you know you can go there and pull enough chubs for your trip or whatever you need for, that's awesome. I'm going to go on a bold statement here as well. I think the western North Dakota creeks are getting fished out. Well, straight up. That's coming from a tournament angler and someone who likes to fish chubs. There's a lot of missing MIA chubs.
So is this also fueling, because I know people that fish the tournaments, there is a movement of people that want to have chubs banned as bait in North Dakota because of the tournaments.
Yeah, I can see it, because in some tournaments it's a definite competitive advantage for one.
Oh, I don't disagree.
But I don't think they should do away with chubs. You want to know why? Because it's a legal bait. You have every right to go out and get your own bait like anyone else, right?
Correct.
So, and it'd be under the same playing field argument as like Active Target or Live Scope.
Those who have it, those who don't. Correct.
Right.
It's the same argument, but there is rumblings of that out there, of people wanting to get chubs banned in tournaments.
Well, let's face it. If it was banned for tournaments, you wouldn't see a lot of chubs used.
Correct.
A lot of guys aren't just going to go and take the time and everything to get chubs just to fun fish. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, but
who's paying $7 a chub at 6 Mile Bait for chubs during the tournament season?
Tournament anglers,
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo is not, spending $70 for 10 chubs to go fishing that day.
Well, I thought buying herring for salmon was expensive, but chubs have kind of trumped that.
It's incredible. But no, I actually would love to hear what the Game and Fish has to say on that topic, because like I said, I really think some of these creeks are getting beat up. Sorry. I mean, I'm saying the obvious. I'm not trying to put tournament guys on the line of fire here, because I am one. I'm simply saying, where do you think the chubs are being used? They're being used heavily in tournaments.
Correct.
It's a tournament bait. Just saying.
It's secretive. Well, we're all kinds of controversy today.
Yeah, we're bringing the heat. So, how do you justify today's electronics and prices for boats? That's another controversy. Now, I'm looking at upgrading this winter.
And you're thinking 2 live units?
No, actually, it depends. I have a buddy that swears you can get the carbons.
Yeah.
And it's virtually the same without live updates.
Well, with the live updates, yeah. It's the same thing. Correct.
So, and again, I'm not claiming to be an expert here. I'm just going off what I was told. So you can save some money on getting the carbon over the live.
Because the carbon's new out there still. I mean, I guess I don't see them for sale online anymore.
You can get them. You can get them direct from Lowrance right now.
Oh, okay.
At Lowrance.com. I just looked earlier. You can save about, was it $700-800 from a live to a carbon. I guess you chip your updates. That's one of the main differences. Is all.
Huh. Wow.
But with that being said, if I was going to go the lives, I mean, you're looking with tax probably around almost $9,000 for 212s in the active target. Honey, if you're listening, I meant to say $2,000.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, it's a lot of money.
Well, again, it's guys are saying that's kind of the difference in tournaments. Are these, some people can afford this, and some people can't.
Right.
But hasn't that been the battle with tournament anglers for years? When
it's always been 2 strokes, 4 strokes,
tiller,
aluminum, fiberglass, bigger boats, better technology,
boat control with a tiller, yada yada yada.
What about spot lock? What about, I mean, all the stuff that we've come through along the way. Heck, I remember when side imaging, remember on the river, you pull into a spot, you don't even fish, you just pull up, you're looking, there's no fish, you move on.
Yeah.
And the 3 schmucks in the hole are looking at you like, look at that a-hell. Like, does that tell us something? There's no fish here. But seriously, technology is always, but this is one of the bigger gaps where the haves and have-nots it's a pretty hefty investment. And do not kid yourself. A lot of people I know that have it kind of brush it off that it's not that great, but that's only because they don't use it enough.
I don't think guys have figured it out up here.
Nah, I said it. We've said it in other podcasts, and I'll say it again. All you have to do is pay attention to what's going on in Minnesota, who's kicking tail on the tournament circuits, and I guarantee you, all the top 10s aren't there on accident. They know their electronics as good as anyone.
Correct. Look at Doc Sonar, what he did for years, knowing his electronics even better than those guys.
Right.
He's made a living off that.
So yeah, how do you justify it? Well, there's OnlyFans. There's no.
You just got a federal tap on our lines here.
So the best route for picking do I even have to ask you about electronics? Because we know you're going to say Garmin. This is probably a
no. There's
not saying that's a bad thing to say.
There's so many things that and let's be honest. How many boats out there have multiple brand electronics on their boats?
Quite a few.
Almost everybody you see.
Not as many. When you really pay, yeah, you're right. It depends. I see a lot of guys running just Lowrance, or just Birds. I do see quite a bit of that.
So there you got your mapping, and then you have what everybody calls the best 2D.
Right.
Okay. Some say that Humminbird has the best side imaging. Okay, and then you got Garmin out there who has probably the best live scope system. It's been kind of proven, but not really. I'm not going to get in that argument. But also, their side scan has come up almost to the level of Humminbird's when you compare them side by side on videos and stuff like that. So I don't know if Garmin kind of did a trade out to Humminbird for their side imaging, for their live scope technologies, vice versa. We don't know that, there's some papers slid underneath a door somewheres in their headquarters that are shared information of formulas or whatever. But, my next question is where do you think it's going to go?
Oh, sky's the limit. Really.
How long is it before it just paints a picture in front of us?
Till you dial in that I want a minimum of this inch fish and don't lock into it until it's a minimum 25 inches.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And then when it locks into it, it starts beeping at you and starts taking the boat that direction and tells you the fish is 87 75, 63, 58 feet away. I mean, you just it's probably stuff like I'm talking about there. That's probably just a couple of years away. Really, it's probably almost there.
And to think about it, we're not that far off from the LCR 4ID that had the red squares. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I grew up fishing off the green box.
Oh, yeah.
The old Lowrance green box,
Correct.
right? What was the brand of that? That was a model. What model was that? Everyone called it the green box, but there was a name.
Was it like an LC something 5 or something like that? I think.
Keep talking. I gotta look it up.
But I mean, and then all of a sudden, Vexilars came out, and then they were color coded. You know, it wasn't just a red band there. Paper graphs came out. I remember paper graphs, and then you know, it's just amazing to see the Humminbird LCR series, and then all of a sudden you had what was the X?
Hey, girls.
X19, X11, X something that came out from Lowrance that kind of revolutionized depth finders for liquid crystal displays. I mean, it's been pretty amazing to see in our lifetime the technology in fishing.
I love the professionalism of Review Gear Radio. And you know what, though? If we didn't have the dogs in here, it just wouldn't be the same.
No.
It just wouldn't be the same. So before we go to break, let's have a Mille minute.
This is your Mille Minute. It is the time period of you cannot keep a walleye. You can catch it, but it must be released immediately. This has been your Mille Minute.
And if you don't like the regulations, just wait a few days. It might change. We'll be right back here on Review Your Gear Radio. And we're back here on Review Your Gear Radio. So, not to be redundant, but again, 10-day camping / fishing trip coming up in just a day. In fact, not even a day and a half. I'll be hitting the road. So,
from the Houston Office of Redundant and Redundancies.
It's amazing. So, am I anal for prepping every meal with Google Sheets? I talked about this just earlier, but I think this is something I'm going to start doing for all my trips.
So, do you have it? Have you gotten to the point where you're, okay, we're using 2.5 pounds of hamburger?
Kind of, yeah.
So
three guys. If we're gonna 3 guys doing burgers, I say you need 2 pounds.
Correct.
Make some pretty good sized hefty burgers. I'm bringing a burger press too. So
you're actually going to use your burger press?
I use mine here at home all the time. But and then when it comes to steaks, that's obvious. Brats, you know, you just figure out, and then we're getting the right amount of bacon, right amount of
Do you
hamburger.
do one of the bundles at 3BE?
Miles gets a discount. He's hooking it up.
Oh,
he put in the order.
Okay.
He put in the order, but no, we're getting we're getting a lot of meat.
That's a lot of meat.
A lot of meat. But yeah, I really, we figured it out in Google Sheets. And, lunch meat too. And then we figured out what we're doing for lunch and dinner. We're really not doing breakfast. We're gonna do like every other day. We're gonna try to do breakfast. Although we never eat in the morning. It just don't.
It just.
But the point is once we tallied it all up, then we figured out how much food we have. So.
Are you bringing any tiger meat into the boat?
No.
Oh, you're killing me, Smoke.
I don't. I like my tiger. Okay, if I'm gonna get tiger meat, I want to buy it. I want to bring it home. I want to open it. I want to eat it. I like to eat.
That's fair.
I don't like to mess around with raw hamburger. I want to eat it as fresh as possible.
That's fair. That's
fish, I seem to have a little bit more tolerance to give it just a hint more time. I know not much, but something about raw cow. I mean, if it was just mooing the other day, I want it fresh.
That's the beautiful thing about what we have up here is our beef here is all pretty fresh. I mean,
you would hope so.
You would hope so. But I mean, not everybody in the country has that luxury, and
that is true.
That is why I think tiger meat is not as popular, in some areas of the country. It's basically carpaccio, steak tartare in a different shape or form.
Right.
And
if you don't eat it, package it up into a hamburger patty, cook it medium rare.
Oh, it's delicious.
It is so good. Good.
And habanero cheese on top of it.
That's the ticket?
Oh, it's money.
Okay.
Money.
I feel you. Let's have some headlines. So our peeps over at the Meat Eater have a pretty cool article on how to pair a beer with the right type of fish. So, why are you shaking your head?
Mr. Rennell is, I just like his stuff.
Well, it's a pretty good article. It's in the link is in the podcast. Fried fish, lager. No shocker there.
Yeah.
Smoked fish,
a
porters, chowders, stouts, big fish, ales, raw fish. Now you know what this is?
A wit beer. Okay, it's a German wit. It's a white beer. It's a very, almost like a lightish. It's a real light beer. It's a wheat-based, very light beer.
I know nothing about it, but hey, I like my rice vinegar wine, or not rice vinegar. Rice wine is my staple. You can't beat sake with raw fish.
Oh yeah, that's
I should. Is this like the Wikipedia? Can I cross it out and just change it? Put sake. So, I put burgers. Look at that. That's awesome.
Wow, you're just ready for the trip, aren't you?
Yeah. Burglars cut power and killed priceless fish in Japan. This is actually really unfortunate.
Killed some sushi?
No, what happened is there was an indoor fishing pond in Japan, and they broke in, stole the cash box, the router, a hard drive, and it somehow triggered and they cut the power, which cut the power to the aerator and all that, and all the fish died. I guess it was like 3,000 fish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Catch those thieves.
Yeah.
Where's Jackie Chan when you need him?
I agree. And this one's kind of an odd one. A guy shoots and kills his wife of 34 years while on an African hunting trip. Now, this is where it gets kind of weird. He got almost $5 million in benefits from life insurance. You could try a little harder, buddy, than shooting your wife in the chest or whatever. Like, yeah. So thank goodness he got nabbed, and
another dentist. Wasn't it a dentist that killed the lion illegally over there too, or something like that?
What is it with teeth? They just sends them to the loony bin. I don't know. I know some dentists. They're pretty decent guys, but yeah. So will the lifetime cooler hang with the Yeti? What do you think? Just give it to me.
Actually, I'm impressed with that big seal on there. I think the biggest thing is how it seals the cold air in and keeps it out. I think that's the biggest thing. Yetis are notorious for having that
great seal.
Right. And that's been the difference in every cooler I've ever had, and that's the one thing I noticed about my Arctic cooler is it's got that great seal to it. So.
And we mentioned this briefly last time. Best ways to keep coolers cold.
Just start out with that stuff cold.
Start cold in the bottom. Stack your way up.
Correct.
Yep.
The one thing I'm gonna say is I don't care what brand, Yeti, Arctic, Big Frig, Bison. Yeah, what other brands are there out there? Those big, they're just heavy.
Right. No, they are.
They're just
especially if you want a big cooler.
Yeah, that is one thing. Is that I'm gonna say if the one thing that sucks about those coolers is they're great
weight.
for saving ice, but they are heavy buggers.
Yep.
I didn't break the the edit there. I almost said something else, but I didn't.
You almost broke.
I almost
we
broke
almost went to explicit.
Yeah, we almost went to explicit, but I caught myself there.
Have you seen? I was just gonna talk about best camping chairs. Have you seen those the ones you can swing now?
I just bought my wife one.
And she used it.
She almost fell out of it. I'm not gonna lie, and I was like, she kept going. It's weird because you got to get it used to it because it moves and stuff. And then last weekend, as you said, kept saying it was a great camping weekend. It was pretty chilly around the fire, and she had this camp blanket that was almost like a sleeping bag, so slippery. So it was almost like a slip and slide.
In the fire. To boot.
To boot. Maybe if I'd had $4.9 million in insurance on her, maybe would have helped her into the fire.
Okay. Maybe.
I love you, dear. Trust me, I love you, dear.
4.9 million. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Terry. So let's talk best all-around fishing line for walleye. Really, if you had just one, and you had to use it for everything.
Power Pro.
Power Pro?
Power Pro.
Okay.
That'd be my... If I had to use... Because one, depending on the size, you can use it to troll, you can pitch jigs with it. Works good for live bait. I pick Power Pro.
I would probably say Fireline, but the one thing I've always said I hate about Fireline is you really need to babysit it above the hook to make sure it's not getting too frayed.
Correct. From
teeth or nicks or of any kind.
The new, 8-strand Fireline, it's closer to, it's
braid.
more of a braid to it, or it's fused better.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, I might be a little better. I mean, Berkeley wants to send us some to try out. We can always do that.
I wish I really knew. Like, sometimes it's so hard to know what's marketing and what's real. Does that make sense?
No.
Like, you're saying it's got a better infused strand, so it's going to fray less? So if that... Hey, if you have Fireline that's going to fray less and not be 80% more in price, hey, sign me up.
It's more in price, though.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So what's cooking on the stone?
What's cooking on this stone?
Blackstones suck propane.
Oh, we've known that, though.
But you said you went through almost 2 pounds just to season it.
Given it was windy and...
How many times did you season yours?
5.
5. Okay.
And I'll probably do a 6th and 7th. I cooked some fried rice on it, and then I cleaned it off good.
And then seasoned it again?
Seasoned it again.
Yeah. I found I've been seasoning mine after each use, and the one time I didn't, I was in a hurry. It's night and day. You just season it. Just get in the habit. Just takes a minute.
I kind of did something real bad.
What'd you do?
I over-cleaned mine.
How'd you over-clean it?
I took some of the orange scrubbers from Blackstone. I just scrubbed it up, but I scrubbed it up way too good and put it back underneath the cover, and it got rusted a little bit. It's just surface rust, but still, I just about had a heart attack.
So you're like those people on the Blackstone
No, I'm not
groups?
That. Oh,
Here's my Blackstone. I haven't used it for 2 years. I left it out in the elements. Can I still use it?
You can, actually.
You can. You just take care of it from now on.
Take steel wool, take it to it, and then...
Is it really? Do they recommend steel wool to that?
I can't remember if it's steel wool.
You may want to double check that.
Yeah,
Something tells me I think steel wool's a no-no on Blackstones.
Yeah, but, I mean, you can scrub it down and then re-season it, and then... God, I forgot what what the process is called, where the oil infuses with the metal at a certain temperature. It redoes that, and then it re-seasons it. So
interesting.
It's kind of like seasoning a cast iron pan again. You can clean it out with salt and potato, and then heat it up, clean it. And, You ever season cast irons?
I never really messed much with cast irons. Never really had to.
Love cast iron.
Well, I can see why, but it was mostly my ignorance to just not growing up having to.
Although I kind of want to pull something off this fall. I'm going to try I bought one of the bigger Lodge pans. I want to try a Chicago-style deep dish in cast iron on the grill. What?
That's too thick.
Oh.
It's going to take forever. You're going to have to do that slow and low?
Oh, yeah. That's the plan.
Okay. What are you going to do it for, like 5 hours?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Well,
that's
can I have a piece?
Yeah.
No, but seriously, I was like, I don't know if I have the patience for that.
Oh, that's why I run my camp chef.
It's going to bring bears.
It might.
So we're going to end it on one of the more important questions. Jason, best booze for camping trips. And why?
I think you got to have a mixture.
Well, everyone wants to say, hey, let's just have a full bar. But if you had...
No.
If you had to go with just a few, where do you start?
Vodka.
What kind?
Tito's.
Yeah, Tito's tough to beat.
I'm a big fan of Tito's.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm going vodka. Gotta have rum.
Do you, though?
I like rum.
Okay.
I'm a rum guy. I like my Morgan.
Okay.
A whiskey.
Okay. I'd pass on the whiskey, but I'll take my Crown.
That's whiskey.
It's not the same.
It's
different.
Canadian whiskey.
It is different. Because when I have a Windsor and Coke, for example, versus a Crown Coke, I don't consider it the same. Crown is in its own mini league, because I like Crown. The flavor of Crown.
I like Crown.
Don't be talking smack about my Crown.
I like Pendleton.
See, there you go. But you never mentioned bringing Pendleton. How come?
That's my whiskey.
You didn't get to that. You just said a whiskey. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And then
I was picturing you getting like Phillips whiskey.
No.
The good stuff.
No. And then, of course, you got to bring some Clamato, whatever you want to call it.
What are you going to drink with the vodka? Mixers.
Yeah.
Like what? What mixers?
I can just do vodka, Red Bulls, vodka cranberry.
Really? I've never seen you do a vodka cran. Really?
Oh yeah, I can drink vodka.
I've been in a cran mood lately too.
Yeah. Although that vodka cran and Red Bull I had the other day here, that was good. That was not terrible.
I'm outlawed from drinking vodka Red Bulls around my wife from a unfortunate night 2 decades ago in Montana.
Yeah. Still
hungover.
Yeah. I like my Miller Lite. Of course, I like mixing out Clamato and some.
Fair enough. Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to agree. This summer though, I have been mixing in some tequila. A little tequila is so nice to have.
Little Margs.
Yeah, I like that the Grand Marnier, squeeze an orange, squeeze a lime. It's always good.
Yeah.
I mean, really good.
Tequila Sunrise is really good.
Those are easy.
Yeah.
Super easy. You know me. I like stuff I can drink. I can't stomach most beer. I can't stomach. I don't know. I must have just overdid it in my youth, but it's just not for me.
Gotcha.
We always ended on the best topics, sir.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, it's pretty important stuff.
That's
like
right.
What vodka to get for camping. I'm Chris Husted.
I'm Jason Renner.
This was Review Your Gear Radio.
Thanks for tuning in to Review Your Gear Radio. Be sure to tune in next episode, and don't forget to check out reviewyourgear.com. Also check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Till next time, tight lines and good times in the outdoors.